Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. What better time to film a TBR video after you just finished drumming for half an hour? Alright, so today I'm going to be going over my March TBR, all of the books that I plan on reading in the month of March. So I've been debating whether or not to even make a TBR video anymore, just because I've realized that I'm slowly becoming, not even slowly, like I'm quickly becoming more of a mood reader. Now for the past couple of months, January and February, I've tried to make like very strict and rigid TBRs. Like, oh, these are the books that I want to read in January. These are the books I want to read in February. And like have just like really long list of books that I want to get to. But it always happens like at the beginning of the month, I stay on schedule. And then like halfway through the month or like 2/3, I just kind of derail myself and start reading random crap that's not on my TBR. But that's one of the reasons why I love reading so much. It's the spontaneousness of it. It's like, oh, I have this book on my shelf I haven't even been thinking about. Let's pick that up and see how it is. And then I end up loving that book and good times. So while there are a lot of books that I want to make sure that I get to this month, I'm not going to pressure myself to get to every single one. And I'm going to leave a lot of room open for mood reading. So there's probably going to be some books in my March wrap up that I'm not even going to mention here, obviously, because like I said, I love this. I love just being spontaneous and like, just, hey, there's a book. Let's go read that. Instead of, I don't think I'm going to be making like long TBR lists anymore. Like, oh, these are the 15 books I want to read this month. No. This TBR video will be much simpler. And a lot of these books are on the shorter side, and I've already started some of them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I actually plan on reading a lot of Stephen King this month, so we'll talk about that first. And of course, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've been running the Stephen King Short Story Book Club. We just wrapped up Night Shift in February, and starting March 1st, which hopefully that's today, or it's probably yesterday, we'll see. But starting March 1st, we'll be tackling his second short story collection, Skeleton Crew. And of course, for anyone who's watching that's new or that's unaware, on my Bookish Drummer Discord, I've been running the Stephen King Short Story Book Club. And like I said, we just wrapped up Night Shift. Now we're starting Skeleton Crew. So if you want to start fresh with a brand new short story collection, we're just reading 1 to 2 short stories a week. And Night Shift was a lot of fun. A lot of people had a great time with it. And I'm hoping that even more people will join us for Skeleton Crew starting March 1st. Like I said, hopefully that's today, or maybe it's yesterday, or 2 weeks ago. Who knows? And then a couple continuous series that I've been unofficially doing on the Bookish Drummer Discord. Me and Josephina have been reading all of the Bachman books, and for March we have The Running Man, which while it's not one of my absolute favorite Bachman books, it's still fun. It's, like most Bachman books, it's relatively short, very fast-paced, has a lot of chapters, very fast-moving, and the ending, even though like this isn't like a top-tier Stephen King book for me, it has one of the best endings. I love like the last page of this book. Fantastic, so excited to get to that. And of course, a book that I don't have too much to say about here, but I am continuing my reread, of course, of Dark Tower with book 3, The Wastelands. This is probably my second favorite Dark Tower novel, because my favorite is Drawing of the Three. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is my second favorite. I love this novel, and yeah, I'll be reading it in March. So with this next Stephen King book I have to show y'all, this coincides with a new Patreon announcement I have. So for anyone who's interested in joining my Patreon, I'll of course leave a link down below. And I now have the added bonus that my patrons are getting to choose a monthly Stephen King book that I will read and review for the channel. I'm calling it the Stephen King TBR Wheel Spin. So as a patron, you would get to vote on which Stephen King book you would like me to read and review for the channel. And the number of votes you get to put on the wheel spinny thing is dependent on what tier you are. So if you're tier 1, you get 1 vote. You're tier 2, you get 2 votes. You're tier 3, you get 3 votes. And then if you're tier 4, which is the Bookish Drummer God tier, you get 4 votes. So, you know, the more votes you get, the more likely your choice for me will be spun. And for this month, we had 6 patrons vote, and there was a total, I think, of 17 slots. And I spun it, and I'll probably put the wheel here somewhere. But the one that got chosen was The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. So this book was voted on by my patron, Stacy, who also happens to be my girlfriend. And no, I'm not playing favorites. There's no collusion. I actually spun the wheel. I made a wheel and I spun it, I swear. But anyway, she chose The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, essentially because one of my buddies, Sharon Dwyer, who's also one of my patrons, she read this book later last year, and she really enjoyed it. And this was this was the first Stephen King book I ever read. But I read it a long time ago, and when I read it, I thought it was good, but not great. But Sharon Dwyer had a really good time with it. And I think reading it more as an adult and knowing how terrifying, like, a child's disappearing, like how terrifying that can be for a parent, like, I'm sure this book will impact me way more as an adult than I did when I was in, like, middle school or high school when I first read it. So yeah, I am very interested to see how I feel about it this time around. So yes, like I said, this was the book for the Stephen King TBR Wheel Spin. I will be reading this in March, and I will be putting up a review for it on my channel. And if anyone is interested in joining Patreon and participating in this said Stephen King TBR Wheel Spin, I'll leave a link down below, and you can come check it out. And if you would like to support me, that would be great. If you can't, don't worry. But if you would like to get some extra perks, greatly appreciated. Speaking of Stacy, we've actually been reading a lot of each other's favorite books over the last few months, and I asked her to pick like a wild card book, like a book that she really likes that she's not like 100% sure that I will enjoy, but it'll be fun to get my reaction out of it anyway. And she chose A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. I don't know a whole lot about this book. All I know is that Stacy really likes it, and that it's a YA fantasy novel, and that it deals with, I think there's politics in this book, and I also know that there's mirrors involved, and I think there might be like some sort of traveling through mirrors. Like, I think it's that kind of magic, like portal magic, I think. If I'm wrong, Stacy will tell me, of course. But I am excited to try this. I'm not 100% sure if I will love it or not, but I do love mixing it up a bit and reading something out of my comfort zone, so I'm definitely going to be looking forward to reading this. And then again, for my monthly read of one of my new favorite horror authors, we have Sterling City by Stephen Graham Jones. And this is just a little novella, so I know I'll be able to get to it. I don't really know anything about it, but what has me curious is that Evie, who is, basically in love with Stephen Graham Jones' writing, she like worships the man. He's her Lord and Savior, as she says. She was kind of mixed about it. Like, she would normally give a Stephen Graham Jones book 5 stars, occasionally 4 stars, but this got 3.5 stars. So I'm very curious as to why she didn't enjoy it as much. And like I said, it's very short. It's like 80 pages, and I know absolutely nothing about it other than that he wrote the book. So I'll be interested to see what it's all about. Another goal that I set for the channel and just for my reading year in general was to read one music-related nonfiction book a month. And the first book that I did was Inside Out, which was Pink Floyd's History, which was written by Nick Mason. It was good, but it wasn't great. And then last month I read Flea's memoir, Acid for the Children, which I really liked, but it wasn't like terrific. It was like a 4-star book. This book I expect to love, and for anyone who knows me personally, they will be able to guess why. And that would be Led Zeppelin's new biography, which for anyone who knows me, it's my favorite band. And to read, like a 500-page book about my favorite band, I'm probably gonna love it. So keep an eye out for that. I'm fairly sure I'll fly through this, and there's lots of great photos in here. And yeah, I think I'm gonna have a great time with this one. And then the last 2 books I have to talk about are books that I'm actually like about halfway through. So I know I'm going to be able to finish them in March. And one of them is Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Deville. I love this book. I've already read this book. I read it a couple years ago. And the Themis Files, this is the first book in the Themis Files. And it's my favorite trilogy of all time, if you can believe that. But yeah, it's my favorite trilogy, and I love this book. And I basically picked this book up towards the end of February, because I was definitely getting in a slump because you guys might know if you're on my Discord, my dog passed away on Monday. I was very sad and just, I couldn't concentrate on really anything. But I kind of just put the audiobook for this on, and I'm already like halfway through it, so I think my slump has ended. So yeah, I really love this book. I love getting to reread it and experience it again. So yeah, I'm definitely going to finish it this month. And the last book that I'm about halfway through is Sword of Kaigen. And yeah, I'm a little bit more than halfway through. And I will admit, I did struggle with this book for like the first 4 chapters are just, I didn't like them at all. Like, it's just tons of exposition, and I didn't care about the characters at all. And I know that people said like, oh yeah, the beginning part of the book is boring, but then it gets really good. But if I didn't know that about this book, I would have DNF'd it like straight away. I'd been like, what is this crap? But you get a little further into it and it gets more interesting. And then you get to a certain chapter, like 16 and 17, and then it starts getting actually good. I don't think I will give it 5 stars just because of that really rough start, but I could see it like having like a really terrific falling action and really good ending and just like crazy stuff happening, and maybe give it like 4.5 stars. But it's definitely not a perfect book if I really didn't like the first 4 chapters. But I am enjoying it now, and I'm definitely going to finish it sometime this month. All right, so that is my March TBR. Definitely a lot shorter than the previous months, and that's on purpose, of course. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get to all of these because it's really just 7 books, and then 9 books, and then 2 books that I'm already halfway through. So it's more like 8 books. Book math. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of any of these books, if you've read them or not, and if you enjoyed them or not. Please let me know all your opinions down in the comments below. And again, for anyone interested in joining the Bookish Drummer Discord and joining the Stephen King Short Story Book Club, I'll leave a link down below. And of course, for anyone who's interested in joining the Patreon and joining in on the fun Stephen King TBR wheel spin, I'll of course leave a link for that down below as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and the Bookish Drummer Discord. And if you'd like to further support me, go check out my Patreon and see what that's all about. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching and have a terrific day.